Hey everyone, my name is James. As always, this is the Better Band Bureau. This week, we're going to talk about what artists can do to make money in an environment where income streams are drying up. More and more, artists have to bank on live shows, which can be fun, but they're also exhausting and draining, especially if you're touring for considerable amounts of time. Every single artist who tours a lot, yes, they admit that there are upsides to it, but it can also be very stressful, exhausting, and you don't get to be home. And for a lot of people, that's very difficult to do, even when they love touring. I know because I've been there myself. Some artists have found creative ways to generate other income streams or promote their music in creative ways to get around these issues so they don't have to tour as much and they don't have to play as many shows, which is a bummer for fans, but at the same time, there's a trade-off. Would you rather have your favorite band stop being a band altogether? Or would you rather have them tour a little less but still put out new music and quality content every few years? Personally, I would rather have my favorite band still be a band than break up because they can't handle the stress of touring after doing it for 15 or 20 years. Or even just a few years if they couldn't handle it after a few years, which is totally understandable. It's not an easy thing to do. So today, we're going to look at two different cases of what bands can do to increase their revenue without playing more shows. For the first one, we have to go all the way back to 2009, yes, almost 10 years ago, to a little band called I Fight Dragons. If you're into nerdcore and you like chiptune, you've probably heard of them. The band actually played Warped Tour a few times, signed to Atlantic, and got out of their deal after one record because they weren't happy with the label, and has always had a very creative story when it comes to their business. When they first started out, they were releasing new music to their email list for free every single month. And this is something that we're now seeing a lot more frequently in 2019. But back in 2009, that was almost unheard of. I'm sure there are other bands that have done it before I Fight Dragons, but I think I Fight Dragons was definitely one of the first few. And it worked for them. They built up a huge, dedicated following of 4,000 to 5,000 people. They started in 2008, and by the end of 2009, they already had this core, dedicated fan base. Towards the end of October 2009, they decided to sell 100 lifetime memberships. It came with a membership card-sized USB stick, which contained all of I Fight Dragons music to date, and the guarantee that the holder would receive all future I Fight Dragons music in a digital format as well. Not only this, the holder would receive free entry to any I Fight Dragons show for life. All they had to do was email in and ask. What did these lifetime memberships cost? Only $100. And they were limited to 100. So, in less than a week, the band sold out all of these lifetime memberships for $100 each and made $10,000 in under a week, for a band with only 4,000 or 5,000 Facebook fans. Now, if you think about it, by selling these lifetime memberships, they got a big influx of cash to go with their projects and do what they wanted. But they also really weren't losing out on that much, because all those fans who are so dedicated would already be buying the physical versions of the albums anyway. Any true fan would not settle for just the digital version and would want to get the CD or vinyl or whatever other format that there is. Not to mention that I Fight Dragons, later in their career, started doing Kickstarters and now Patreons to promote their new albums, but also to fund them. And as part of that, people would pledge to the album and get physical copies in return, sometimes even have their names in the liner notes or be given the chance to have their voice on the album. All in all, this was a really great strategy from I Fight Dragons, and it got them noticed by Atlantic Records. That's another story entirely, but it did help I Fight Dragons' career when they were just starting out, and I don't think that I Fight Dragons would be where they are now if they hadn't had that genius idea back in 2009. For our second example, I'm going to talk about the Maine, and this is something that just happened a few days ago. Now, later this year, the Maine are releasing a new album called You Are Okay Now. Towards the end of February, the band put a form on their website with a few simple questions about their name and where it came from, what the numbers 8123 mean, and what their most recent album was. If a fan could answer all three of these questions correctly, the Maine would put that fan's name in the liner notes of the deluxe CD version of the album. They, of course, pitched this as a way to give back to their fans, and I'm sure that that is at least part of the intent. But I think to an even greater level, it's a genius marketing scheme. Because who would not want to have a copy of the album that has their name in it? So for every one of these fans who submits and is expecting their name to be in the album, you can bet that they're going to go buy the deluxe CD version of that album just so they can say to their friends, look, my name is in this album. I think that's just a really, really good way to promote the product. The Maine does not have a record label. They're very DIY, and they are very hands-on with their fan base. They know that without that fan base, they wouldn't be the band that they are today. Even back when I was on Warped Tour, a few of the years I did the tour, the Maine was also out there. And they would be out in line every single morning talking to fans who were waiting to get into the show, promoting their music, promoting their set. They had dedication like no other band that I've seen. So when it comes to the Maine, I have no doubt that they do have the best of intents, but there's also a bit of the money element involved because they know how to make their fans feel appreciated, and that's what they are very, very good at. To wrap things up, in these two cases you can see unique ways that bands have increased their income. I'm not saying go out and copy exactly what I Fight Dragons did by essentially selling themselves or selling 100 shares of the band's career, which is kind of what they did, or by using the secret marketing that the Maine used to get their fans to buy the deluxe version of their album. But if you can come up with something creative along these lines to get the attention of your fans and get some extra cash in your pocket that you can use to further your band's career, that would be really, really great for you. I've been mentioning this for the last several weeks, but if you sign up for my mailing list down below in the description, I'm offering you a free 30-minute coaching session. If you're trying to figure out a way that you could increase your income in some way like this, I'd be happy to talk to you about other ideas and let you bounce ideas off of me to see what would work and what might not work. It all comes down to knowing your fan base, what they want, and how you can make them feel the most appreciated that you can. So please, go sign up for my mailing list if you want to take advantage of the free coaching offer and help further your band's career. So thanks so much for watching, everyone. I hope you have an awesome week, and I'll see you soon.